community of TikTok adopt your platform as our platform, is what I'm trying to say, Greg. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think it's a great way that instead of just sitting watching, these cases, instead of just sitting there talking about these cases, it's something that you can actually put action to. And
Right.
by donating, you're actually helping the experts get the resources they need to potentially solve these cold cases. So you're being part of the solution. You're proactively helping in a way that,
The
like,
very few people do,
yeah.
you know, the very few people
And you
do.
could imagine if you donated for that boy, the 2-year-old boy, to find out that his mom didn't leave him. I mean, just imagine the impact that you would have on a case like that. Or someone who, other person is missing and they catch the suspect, or they find the person, or whatever it is. You're actually having a real impact on these people's lives. That is just priceless.
It is, and stuff that wasn't around. And what I like, and I've said it before, is both Dave and Chris are approachable, you know? And I mean, yeah, we're three Philly guys. One came by New York by accident, but we'll take them.
I was
We'll take
almost a
them.
New
Thanks,
Yorker.
thanks, Mike.
Right. We'll take him. He has saved a lot of lives. He's solved a lot of crimes. He's gotten a lot of sexual offenders off the street before they made that line, and cross that line what we're all talking about. So we've all watched it from Forensic Files to ID Channel. They always escalate. They always elevate their crimes. They eventually start as peeping toms, and then they become rapists, and then they become rapists that stay a little longer and start messing with their heads, and then they become murderers. Is usually the progression. So getting them off the street before they cross that line has been you. How many lives used to saved with just that Benson case? Who knows? Who knows? It's
Chris
amazing.
and I talked about that. That Josh Benson was by far the one person that we thought would have killed someone had he kept on, if he had not been captured.
Wow.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well,
So, and who knows how many he would have had,
and here's something that comes up a lot in our lives. We will get a lot of family members that come in and they're frustrated. Some cases have been years, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some have been 15, 20, 25, 30 years. And their frustration comes from the lack of communication between law enforcement and the families. It comes from them feeling that everything has not been done that could be done. Some of them have hired private investigators that found other information or other evidence that just hasn't been admitted, or hasn't been looked into or checked out. There's various things, or they're getting like, there's one poor woman that I know of. She was told that lightning struck 4 different times to destroy the data for the ATM machine, the data for the cameras for
right?
convenience store, the data for the body cam footage, and the data for something else. And every one of those were different places at different times in the same city, and there was no bad weather, lightning, no storms. It was clear days and nights. And she's been given this kind of information. Now, that frustrates family members. How did they get the information they want when they, request it or they FOIA it or stuff? How did they get, stuff looked at, or how did they get taken more seriously? Because it is their loved
Squeaky
ones
door,
and
Greg.
they want that. Huh?
Squeaky doors get fixed, and you got to
So,
be in their face. They are so inundated with so many cases that you have to. And I don't know if you guys will agree with me, Chris and Dave, but unfortunately, a squeaky door and he who yells the loudest gets heard about
Yeah.
a case. Unfortunately, you
but
know.
there are ones that have been doing that for years. So is there anything that you, Chris and David, could give our audience some suggestions of what to do, how to do it, who to talk to, how to get these
Get
things.
focused back on their loved one's case.
Is there any suggestions?
I would. I mean, I'm probably speaking for myself, but also Dave. You have to be tenacious. You have to be stubborn. And you said it a minute ago. The squeaky wheel.
Mm-hmm.
That's what gets the oil. Yeah.
Squeaky wheel gets the oil. Don't.
And get your friends and family to just harass. I mean, not harass where it's criminal, but some people, those cases are forgotten about. But to bring it back and get new eyes on it, he who yells the loudest, and
Sure.
That's with anything. That's with customer service. That's with public service. That's with even as a nurse, when a family would call every night to see how their loved one is doing while they're going through this, the process of withdrawal and being an addiction nurse. They got the answers.
If they've called the local department that's handling it and stuff, and the investigators and the detectives and stuff, is there somewhere else that they can call, or what's the next step? Is there anywhere that they should try that you all would suggest?
I mean, if I don't want to. I mean, you could always go to the state level, but I don't. I would recommend just going to a supervisor at the local department.
Right,
Okay.
but I mean, you have no investigation. You're saying like cold case initiative guys, like donating and maybe suggesting that they look into a certain case. But again, it has to come from law enforcement. But if you're working both sides of a foundation like that, as a initiative like that, and they say, well, the funding's not there. Well, hey, why don't you call these guys?
Well, yeah, that's a possibility, because you have to understand, if Cold Case Initiative is going to fund an investigation, the investigating agency has to agree to it, because they have to agree to allow their evidence to go to a lab.
Right.
So,
Right.
I mean, so it has to be sanctioned by them and go through them.
And hopefully not a lab in Florida like Pima County, but that's a whole other episode about the Pima County running in. We all in the true crime community have our own feelings on Sheriff Nanos and that whole zoo down there outside of Tucson. And we'll have to talk about that one episode. But guys, I'm not going to hold you much longer. We could talk all night, but I want to thank you both for being so available, accessible, answering the questions, bringing Philly homicides into our living rooms. You were even actually on SVU, correct? A couple episodes as an actor with Miss Hardigay. Is that when his head started to get bigger, Dave, when he was acting next to...
No, listen, he's my brother. I could say that, but a lot of the other guys owes Hollywood. He even moved to a house in Trevose, Bensalem, that was called Hollywood Ave. So they're like,
that was just by coincidence.
Yeah,
That's
but
coincidence.
like, so.
Mm-hmm. But people say
we
me and
love
Chris look alike. If you see, I do have that dimple. You see that?
Mhm.
I do have that. You know where I got this dimple?
You tripped?
No, I was up in heaven, right? And this probably happened to you. And God came by and he said, "You go down there and make some babies. You just so cute. Get ahead and head down there. You little precious child. You go make some babies." That's what happened. That's how I got this. Is that what happened to your dimple?
Always been there. I don't know.
All right.
Gosh. Hey, Chris,
I like my version better.
I used to call it a dent when I was a kid, but Mom,
Chris
why do I
and
have this
David,
dent in my chin?
I got a question for you. On your show, how do you all pick the cases that you're all going to do for